Welcome to the Healthy and Wealthy and Wise podcast with global sales trainer and professional speaker, Lois Kofi. Each week, it is her goal to share inspiration and education for you to be, do, have the best health and wealth and wisdom for your life.
All right. Hello, and welcome back for another action-packed Friday live show. If you're hearing this live, please go ahead and hit #live. Otherwise, I know my community is hearing this on Mondays when it comes out into iTunes and on YouTube and all of the things, right? All those different platforms that everybody's on right now in this new normal. And I'm super excited. If you're just joining me for the first time, my show is called Healthy and Wealthy and Wise. My name is Lois Kofi. I'm a sales trainer from San Diego, California, by way of Santa Barbara today. Me and my husband have created a life of laptop lifestyles and freedom, and that's what we're talking about today with Ted and Lisa. So I'm so excited for you guys to meet them and hear their story and talk about that. So it's really exciting to be able to each week bring up health experts, wealth experts, which is what we're really focusing on today. And then, of course, mindset, what I call wisdom next week. And I'll share with you who our exciting guest is going to be next week. Hello, Peter. All right. We got some people already. I love it. We will have time for Q&A later, but I'm going to go ahead and introduce to you our amazing guest today. I've actually known Ted and Lisa now. I forget. I know it's been over 2 years. It may even be 3 years. Time flies when you're having fun, and they've just been amazing friends. I've been so inspired by their story and what they do. They are the founders of Legacy Builders International. They're actually homeschooling parents going on 3 years. They're just about to start their third year, which is crazy to me because a lot of us have been in this pandemic homeschooling, kind of forced homeschooling, and now my husband and I have chosen to actually do the deal. But there's a lot of people out there that are going to be excited to hear from you guys today. And they've also taught hundreds of adults through classes on leadership, culture, and finance. All amazing topics. So I'm so excited. I'm going to turn over to you guys. Why don't you share more of your story, how you got to be where you are today, and of course, why you do what you do.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Lois. And first of all, thank you for having us on. It's been such a privilege and honor to know you over the last few years, and we've learned so much from you. Where does our story start?
Oh my.
It feels like it's just always been. We originally got our start really in nonprofit work as kind of our background. When we started, we were people back in high school and college. We knew where we wanted to be and what we wanted to do. And so we were really involved with nonprofit work for about 13 years. And we loved it. We loved some of the stories that we got to see. We loved helping people. We have a heart for seeing people go from where they are to where it is that they want to be. We believe that every person has something in them that is meant to be unleashed, that's meant to help the world. And so it's always been a part of us. We've always said, how can we help people? How can we bring them to the next level and really empower them for the lives that they want?
About 4 years ago, we were driving home from an excursion up northern Minnesota, and we were just having a conversation about how sad it is that you see this pattern over and over again with different people, that like grandpa was really great with finances, and then his kids weren't. And then maybe the next generation after that, maybe they figure a few things out, and then it seems to like skip generations, and it's just really sad. And all of a sudden we realized, we've had the blessing to be able to be impactful so far in our lives. And if this is something that actually kind of hurts us deeply, that this happens in the world, we could do something about that. And so we started having conversations about what would it look like to put something together that helped people to build a legacy that lasts, that gets passed down well, not just the financial legacy, which I think a lot of people immediately go to, but philosophies, things that you care about, things that you want your great-great-great-grandchildren to live by, and also just family values, things that, you care about, how discipline is done in families, and all those things are really essential to making sure that a legacy doesn't just go one generation and stop, because a real legacy should go on for a very, very, very long time, right? Well afterwards.
Multi-generational, absolutely.
So a couple of years ago, we were able to switch Ted's full-time job to part-time, and we really started pushing on legacy builders. I'd say that's when it really started to begin to take form. It was taking form not necessarily out there for everyone else, but in us. And we started doing the work and becoming the people that could teach this because we knew it, we'd learned it. We've had some awesome mentors and advisors, and we know not everyone is in that situation. And so we started really putting the pieces together. And actually, just a couple months ago, Ted was able to leave his job. So now we are a self-employed family. We work from home together. We started homeschooling our kids a couple of years ago because we were traveling a lot and we had a lot of flexibility and freedom. And we didn't want our kids called for truancy. And so it didn't come out of like something negative happening. It just came out of we have flexibility and we've built it into our lives. And that's the only area that we didn't have it. And so we realized that we could do this. So now we work together. We homeschool our kids. We kind of do it all from our home base. And then we get to travel while we're doing it. And our favorite part is that we get to help other people see the potential that maybe they don't see in themselves. You know, they're hoping for something more. And we get to call it out and say, yeah, we believe that the world needs what you are going to leave behind 100%. So let's help you define it. Let's help you clarify it. Let's help you start making progress on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know what else. I'm so excited.
This is great.
Well, tell us.
Part of it
Go ahead.
too is that we had gotten started a few years ago helping people to get their wills done. We have a service that we help people do that with. And just through the process of realizing, you know, a lot of people don't think about this kind of stuff until they're on their deathbed. What financial legacy, what things I care about our kids having, like, oh yeah, that book, you know, that was passed down. I should make sure somebody gets that. They're not thinking about these things until it's like too late. And that was a big piece of it. We still do that, but with legacy builders, it's great because we get to cover kind of the whole person, as well as help them with the legal side of that too.
That's awesome. And not only that, I mean, gosh, homeschooling, how did you decide to come to make that choice, and how has that impacted your livelihood?
Can I talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, go for it.
So doing nonprofit work, it was interesting because a lot of it was weekend time, and our kids were going to public school. And I just wasn't seeing them very often. So we made a couple adjustments. We said, hey, let's start driving them to school rather than getting on the bus. And it was sort of a slippery slope. You know, you give a mouse a cookie. It's like, oh, I'm getting this little extra time with the kids. This is really, really great. Like, what would happen if we just didn't have them go away, but during the week, you know, because Friday was sort of our day off at the time. And honestly, still kind of is, but this is super fun for us. So why not? We just didn't, I wasn't seeing them as much as I wanted to. So a big piece of it was I want to see the kids. I want to be able to have a hand in what they're learning and what they're growing in, because like I know the school system didn't teach, like, for example, how to balance a checkbook. Those are things that I want to make sure my kids know how to do. They don't necessarily teach financial stewardship. We can teach that to our kids now. Mm-hmm. We can give them lots of skills that are going to really help them in the future. And that, I think that's kind of part of what got us down the legacy builders thing too, is just seeing the impact that we can have in our kids. Even though Naomi is 4, she's learning about saving money and, you know, doing these things to be responsible. And it's just really, really great.
Yeah. And part of it for us is, you know, here we're all about multiple streams of income, and understanding how much we've had to learn about creating different streams over the years. We are really drilling it into our kids that, yes, you can have a job if you want, but you're also going to have a business. Like, okay, you can have that business, but what other business are you going to have? Okay, you can work for money, but how are you going to turn it passive? And so our kids at this point think it's normal for people to just work from home, and they think it's normal for passive income to happen. And we love that. I don't want them to know it's not normal. Like, I don't want them to know that. I want them to just always be thinking about how we can do it. And we're already training them on skills for passive income and for high paying jobs and for freelance work. We're working that stuff into their curriculum all the time.
I love it. You're preaching to the choir, because again, we had talked to you guys. We were interviewing different people about homeschooling, and quite honestly, COVID was kind of a gift for us because it forced us to start earlier. We had already signed up for a homeschooling charter, school, and we're so excited about that. But even since then, we've helped them start their own plum jam business and,
Nice.
doing like
Nice.
spreadsheets. They have their own little website. They're doing video marketing and even just we've even helped them invest in crypto with the money they earn. We're like, no, you're not going to just go spend it on candy or whatever. So I think you guys are brilliant. I don't know if you're already thinking about this, but you guys could even start your own like online homeschool university for little mini entrepreneurs, or that might, I don't know. Have you thought about that?
Ooh.
See, this is why you come and you talk to Lois Kofi. Best ideas ever.
Maybe
I
we can.
literally have
We'll talk
a
about that
notebook
later.
for you.
We'll have to work on that together. I have a good feeling about this. So
Ooh,
that's,
I hear a collaboration coming on.
Yay.
and I know there's a lot of people out there with homeschooling. So let's go there, since we were just talking about it, and I'm selfishly interested in what you have to say. So since this is my show, we're going there. We'll come back to the legacy component because there's a lot of stuff there that I'd like to unpack with you. But let's say, Bobby and Susie, they have 3 kids, because that's how many you have, guys. Is it 3? Yeah.
Yep.
And can you speak to them right now? They've never homeschooled. They didn't want to homeschool. Maybe they didn't have the awareness and the awakening that you and we started having, because we wanted to spend more time with our kids. We wanted to, mentor them and turn them into little mini entrepreneurs. How do they shift their mindset in this COVID new normal, and really, where do they start?
Well, that's a really, really great question. So the first thing that comes to mind is you have to take into account what your life looks like right now, because are you working from home, or are you going out for the day and one parent is there? Maybe you're a single parent home or whatever. You got to take those things into account and then figure out what's going to work best for us. Because if you're forced into having to homeschool, you might as well make the most of it and figure out how you can turn it. Because I think a lot of people get a victim mentality about stuff, start complaining about, oh man, now I have to do all this stuff. I have to find curriculums or whatever. Instead of spin that on its head and say, I'm excited. I get to pick the curriculums. I can choose how much time they spend on this subject versus this subject. I know my kid's really passionate about music. Let's make that a bigger part of their day and figure out how to incorporate math into that and figure out how to incorporate science into that and just kind of use the things that the kids are passionate about. It can be really exciting if you put away the victim mentality and say, you know what, if I had to kind of do it all over, I think I might choose this anyway. And then from there, start to build a plan out and say, how can we really rock this? How can we make it awesome? Make my kids say, please don't send me back to school. I want to keep doing this here. This is so much better. I'm learning so much more. I'm coming alive.
Mm-hmm. I'd also say for parents to remember that there is a difference between homeschool and distance learning at home. Those are 2 different things. Distance learning at home, you're having to use the school's curriculum. There's probably a certain amount of screen time. You're looking at very specific hours that your child has to school. You're looking at a specific set way of doing it. And that's not necessarily bad. But the other option is to homeschool. And unfortunately, I think people lump it all together. And they're like, man, I'm homeschooling. And it's really hard because my child has to be on a computer for this many hours a day. And for some people, I talk to them and I say, that's not homeschooling. If you really want to homeschool, the beauty of it is, yes, you have to find your own curriculum, but there are curriculums that are full. You just open it up and you just go with it. We're a little bit more eclectic, so we like to draw from different resources. But the beauty of homeschool is that it doesn't have to be Monday through Friday. It doesn't have to be 6 hours a day. It doesn't look one way for every single family. And so if you're going to have your kids at home, I'd say really consider looking into what true homeschool looks like. Because if you're having to work certain hours and your kid is expected to be on a computer for certain hours and you need to be able to help them during those hours, then you're really dealing with conflict in your home in terms of time management in your schedule. So if that's an issue, what can be adjusted to make that a non-issue? And maybe homeschool isn't a forever thing. We say personally that we will do this until it no longer works for us. Like
Yes.
If one day we wake up and we're like, man, homeschooling is not working for our family, we need to make an adjustment, then we will make an adjustment. And so it might be that during this year, it might be, you know what, we're just going to homeschool for a year and then see what things look like next year. You're not committing forever. Like, it's okay to say, we don't know what the future looks like, but right now in the season, this is how we feel like our whole family is able to thrive.
Oh my gosh, I love that. First of all, you guys are teaching the art of flexibility. I also call that the art of curiosity and really being in tune with your heart's desires and say, you know what, this is a season. This is time we get to spend and nurture with our children, and then be open and flexible. I think, don't you guys see this? And maybe this is a good transition. Unless anybody has any questions about homeschooling, this is a great time to put them in the comments, because we're only going to go for about 30 minutes, okay? But maybe you can, speak more to the shift that you guys had with the word legacy. There's a lot of fixed mindset, right? Like the 9 to 5 mindset. My kids go to school in a normal school mindset, right? And I feel like COVID has maybe shaken the world, right?
Absolutely.
On really thinking, oh my gosh, what is this legacy I'm going to leave? And I know that's part of your passion. So can you share more on how does someone during this time, when they're maybe juggling the distance learning, I like the way you put that, because it is different from homeschooling, and leaving a legacy. I mean, that's pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the big thing is that everything about our culture here in the US, and I know it's different kind of everywhere, and even from state to state, it's really different. But there's just kind of been, coming out of the Industrial Revolution, like, we have basically become like cogs in a big wheel that the employment mindset, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, like having a job, earning money, these are really, really great things. It's good to be responsible. But the education system also kind of is preparation for that. So especially if you are passionate about entrepreneurship, you want to make sure that you're growing and your future generations are growing towards something like that, going toward the freedom that comes with that. There's risk that comes with it, but there's freedom that comes with it as well. You got to figure out how to embrace what we have going on right now, because I think this is a great opportunity to start moving that direction and let those things kind of break off, and recognize that while that has been the norm for a very long time, it might not be the best norm for you. So to start to make the foray into entrepreneurship, to start to make the foray into helping your kids move in that direction as well, now is a perfect time for that. And I think, like, the shakeup is a big deal with that. Like, what would you say about that?
I'd say the shakeup is a great time to really start evaluating what's working, what isn't working, and not even just fully what isn't working for the world, but what could be working better for you and for your family. As we talk about legacies, when we were talking about it with our kids, we're like, the biggest legacy that we can leave is them. The biggest impact that we have is them. And it's really easy to think, man, I could impact that person I'll never meet and do something really great over there. But honestly, the biggest people that we can impact in our lives are our kids. And so recognizing the importance of that. And when they were in public school, we were still talking to them about entrepreneurship and those principles. But what it turned into was they were going to school, and then in the evenings, they were still having to listen to mom and dad talk about cool things. We're still teaching them. So it was great when we were able to bring it all in together. And so with them, what I love is that we're able to talk to them. And a big thing that I'd say for you is bring your kids into the conversation and help them understand why. As adults, we talk about the why, like, why do we do things? And everything kind of flows from there. But sometimes we only talk to our kids about the how or the what, and we forget to explain to them what the why is. So we actually talk to them. Here's why we're homeschooling you. Here's why we teach you these skills. Here's why we talk about leadership.
Can I give a good example?
Yeah, go for it.
So just 2 days ago, one of the things that I do for fun is I have a YouTube channel with a friend. We play video games, do that sort of stuff. And our oldest son has always kind of watched over my shoulder and been very interested in that for obvious reasons. It's video games. And one day I was like, hey, do you want to learn how to edit some of these videos using Final Cut? There's like an industry standard, editing tool. And he's like, sure.
Awesome.
So I started teaching him a little bit here and there. That was like a year ago. Come now, he's actually helping to edit on a regular basis for that YouTube channel. And I do some freelance video just on the side as well. And he came in on Wednesday morning and he sat down next to me and he was like, are you going to edit some videos? I was like, yeah. And he sees right away, these aren't video games. This is like people talking, you know? And so he's like, oh, okay, never mind. He starts to walk away. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. The YouTube videos are really fun because they're fun, but these videos are really fun because the paycheck is nice. And he like immediately came and sat back down with me. He's like, show me. So I started teaching him how to do, you know, more professional type work. And that was really, really rewarding. And it was fun. I was able to, you know, even get him going on some of that stuff. And he's 10 years old. And even though it's summertime, like the school still happens, you know, we bring them into what we're doing. They hear sales calls when we're on a sales call. They hear discussions about what our to-do lists and tasks lists and delegation looks like.
And we are open with them. We won't tell them every single thing that's going on. But if one of our kids comes in and says, hey, Mom, how much money did you make doing X? We tell them. Like, we want them to understand money, how it works, what bills we're paying with it, what investments we're making with it. We have those conversations with our kids all the time.
I think we have an assumption that just because they're young doesn't mean they can't process things that are an adult level. I mean,
well, and
we were very, very little having actual conversations with them when they couldn't even talk. We were speaking very clearly, using big words, you know, that kind of stuff. So
yeah, treat them like humans and not less than. And I think you're hitting on something that's so amazing, and I'm so proud of you guys. And more people can learn from you. When we were kids, or I can't speak for you, in my personal childhood, you didn't talk about money. Money was like the root of all evil. I didn't learn anything about financial advising. So I needed to go through the Great Recession, become homeless, go through bankruptcy, foreclosure. And I had the school of hard knocks, and I can't even imagine. I mean, it was grateful. I mean, I'm so grateful because I learned about how to diversify, get into all different kinds of streams of income, you know, but you guys are setting them up to really win. In fact, I was going to tease you when you were talking about you've taught hundreds of students or adults through classes. Now you're teaching your kids, and they're going to be able to teach, who knows, maybe millions of people, because they'll be so ready to just rock that they could be, whether they go to college or not, right? And I'm sure you've probably had those conversations like we have with our kids. They don't have to go to college. Like, why not start a 6-figure career when you're 16 or 17 and your first 6 figures, right? And then keep going from there.
Absolutely.
I love what you said about legacies, about how, yeah, we can teach some people, but our kids might be teaching even more people. And when we talk a lot about legacies, we do talk about that, kind of the depth of our legacy and how many generations we can impact. But another thought that we're always having is, what is the width of our legacy? What people are currently alive that we can be impacting, and how might they impact someone else, and how might they impact someone else? So a couple of weeks ago, something I'm really proud of is we ran a charity event to raise money for digging wells in India. And so while we're thinking through impact on the width scale, like going sideways, I also went and we kept our kids in the loop. We said, this is what's happening this week. It's going to be kind of a full week. We have work to do. Here's why we're doing it. Here's how it's going to help people. We kept them in the loop on all of it. And then the day of, I went to them and I said, hey, I don't want to forget to give you the chance to help people. Did you want to donate? And our kids, they're 10, 8, and 4. And between the three of them, they gave $25. To help out of their money. And it was really neat because for us, we're seeing that impact, but then we're also seeing our kids say, we're going to impact people who are older than us. We're going to impact people who are younger than us. Like, they get to see, they're not even going to see the results of what they did, but it's so exciting that we're able to start helping them build that legacy. And when they're older, we can look back and say, remember, you helped build a well. You helped dig a well for a village. You helped a community. And just knowing that they're not going to remember a time in their lives where they didn't help, where they didn't give, where they didn't
Yeah, I was
provide.
just going to say this real quick. Like, we know that immersion is the quickest way to learn a language, and we feel like immersion is the best way to learn any kind of philosophy, whether that's wise business sense or anything. And so we just try to immerse our kids in everything that we do, so that way they just learn it and they feel like that's normal. Like for example, like when the whole COVID thing happened, and it's still happening, right?
Yeah. Yep.
They were like, what's different? Because it was what was normal for them already. And we want that to be like success when they're older. They want to be like, there's nothing different about this success thing. This has just been what my life has been up to this point.
This is the natural flow of things. I love that. I love it. You were talking about the village. You used to say it takes a village to raise a child. You're building leaders who are helping the village.
Oh,
that's cool.
I love it.
A little bit. That is awesome.
That is so awesome. I'm so proud of you guys. I know we're wrapping up here in the next little bit so I don't forget and run out of time, because I don't see any questions. So if anybody has any questions, I know we've got a really good sized audience. Feel free, whether it's homeschooling, whether it's multiple streams of income. So I'll kind of wait and see. In the meantime, where can people find you? I know I already shared your website, but you also have an incredible, generous offer, a free gift. Can you tell them what that is?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So we know that legacy building is like all about expanding your scope, and it can be kind of hard to do all on your own. That's why part of the reason we started Legacy Builders, because we realized we needed our scope to expand as well, and having conversations with people who have already built legacies and all that stuff. So we put together, it's a Legacy Builders framework planner. You can just print it off on your own. You can also just work through it, on a computer screen or whatever. It's a PDF. Normally this is like a $15 thing. We wanted to give it away for free to you guys. It's 27 pages. It's a workbook, takes you through from beginning to end. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to establish, what do you care about most? Who are the people that you want to impact? All that stuff, and walk you through time-tested and modern brainstorming strategies. I've been a student of that for a very long time, to help you develop exactly what you're going to be trying to do, and then take it from there using strategies that we learned from all sorts of different places. The 12-week year is one of the things that we've actually, and I know that that's your guest next week.
Yep, actually August 25th. Thank you for mentioning that. But yes, I'm so excited. That's excited.
Super exciting. Yeah. So places that we've learned all those from, then we take the legacy and we turn it into a plan. You can actually have daily activity that will inevitably get you to where you want to go.
I love it. I like that.
So we're super excited. They can find more information on the other things that we do, our podcasts, we have classes. We are just trying to provide as many tools and resources to people so that they can find the right mentors, the right advisors, get the right thinking so that they can start building that legacy. And all that is at legacybuildersinternational.com. That's legacybuildersintl.com. To specifically get this for free, you can go to bit.ly/HWW legacy. So that's healthy
Awesome.
and healthy
Thank
and
you.
wise legacy.
Yay!
We're so excited.
That's awesome. And then this will also be in the show notes, guys, so you guys can click on these links. I'm sure these links will be good for a while, right, guys? Okay. Because this will be repurposed and out there for many, many, many years to come. I do have a closing question. And again, want to thank you guys for being here. And since there's two of you, let's go ahead and just dive into that closing question, if that's okay with you. As you know, my actual podcast is Healthy and Wealthy and Wise, because I had some major pivots and impact in my life during the Great Recession. I lost my health, I lost my wealth, and it taught me a lot of wisdom, which I now share and bringing you guys on today as part of that. So thank you. When you guys hear Healthy and Wealthy and Wise, what does that mean to you?
Well, I feel like it's like a trifecta, a Triforce, if you will, of like the most important things to being successful. You can't have wealth and wisdom if you're really unhealthy, like mentally, physically. So like you need that health piece. You need the wisdom piece to be able to manage the health and the wealth. And you need, honestly, like you kind of do need money to be able to move important things forward in this life. It just represents the things that you find to be important. So I see those three things as being pillars, in a really well-rounded, successful person, because you can see how people maybe accrue a bunch of wealth, but if they're not wise or healthy, it can crumble. And we see the same thing happen. Maybe they take off really, really well in the business sector, and all of a sudden their health falls apart because they haven't been caring for, the thing that actually allows them to be successful, right? And so that's what I think of when I think of those three.
Yeah. When I think of healthy and wealthy and wise, I think about building a life that you don't have to escape from. And I say building on purpose because it's not just, oh, I'm going to go get a new job and now everything's going to be great. Like there's the building the income streams that you need, the building the home culture that you need, the building the health that you need, building up the wisdom and the support structures. It's building something that you don't have to escape from. And I feel like we've been really fortunate because we work, but work is what you do with your hands. It's not a state of your heart. And so I feel like we are able to live at peace and just really well while still working. And then when we go away, it used to take us, back when you were working full time, it used to take us 3 or 4 days to decompress from stress before we could finally feel like we were relaxing. And now when we go away, it's because we love to travel. We love to experience new things. And we're immediately in vacation mode when we go because we just live our lives in a way where we've built it to be healthy. We've built the passive income and we've built the income stream so that we can do the things that we want to do. And it's been through building up our wisdom over the years, and we're still learning.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love your humility. And that's key. We did have one quick question. Normally we're right at the 30-minute mark. Do you have one more minute to answer this question? And Peter, I want to support you as well. Peter says, building a stream of passive income, which I hear this all the time, seems to require a heavy upfront investment of time, energy, if not also money. Are there any good entry-level, low-effort projects that can start a stream of passive income? And that's a loaded question, Peter. But can you, and obviously your free gift can help with that, right? Your free gift is going to get them on that path.
Just kind of gets you start to thinking about the things that maybe you are best suited to go after, because there are a lot of different ways to generate passive income. But you're totally right. They're going to require something of you. Passive income is so incredibly amazing. It's bound to cost something. Like it has to cost something. It's so good. So it's going to have to cost an upfront investment of something. So what you need to figure out is, what do you care most about? What are you passionate about? Because you're going to need passion to get you through ups and downs of generating passive income. And then figure out, what am I best suited for? What skills do I already have? And what skills can I learn? They're going to help me to generate that. So, there are tons of vehicles. We've heard about all of these different vehicles, investing in real estate or the stock market or starting a business or different things like that. They're all great options, but they're not great options for everyone. You got to figure out what's going to be the thing that you can dive into.
Yeah, I think you really have to figure out what it is that you're interested in. Start digging into that. And then make sure that as you're building it, that you have the passive income in mind. So often people start projects and they end up building a job for themselves versus building something that will pay them if they stop working.
Yes.
Yeah.
And understanding how to make that switch and that transition, and then give it 5 years. So many people get started with a project. They're like, hey, I'm really interested in starting a business. Here's how I could see it turning passive. And they start that initial investment. And if it's not happening in 3 months or 6 months, they're like, I'm out. It's not working. And part of it isn't like the business needs time to mature, but we also need time to grow into who we need to be in order to succeed as well. We have some stuff that seems like it's overnight success, or that's what people say. I'm like, we've been working on this for 15 years.
I was just going to say, you don't have to be great to start, Peter. You just got to start to be great. You know what I mean? Yeah, you got to get that first one. I know my first network marketing opportunity, I felt like I wasted 4 years. But guess what? It's still paying me today. And we've learned so much and grown so much from that one opportunity. So I encourage you, Peter, just for sake of time, I do have to run. So Peter, please reach out to Ted and Lisa, reach out to myself, And I'm just so grateful for you guys for being here today.
Absolutely. We are so honored to be able to be here with you.
Yes, thank you.
And please, guys, if you want to connect with them, also join my Healthy and Wealthy and Wise Facebook community. You guys can meet them there, connect on their free offer, and we'll look forward to tuning in next week where I have author Linda West. We're going to be doing a live on how you can write your first book. And then, like you guys said, Brian Moran, author of 12-Week Year, will be here on the 25th, and I'm so excited for that special featured guest. Until next time, guys, here's to your best health, your best wealth, and your best wisdom. Bye-bye for now.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe, refer a friend, and please drop me a rating or a review. If you do that, I'll reward you with a free 20-minute free coaching session on crafting your journey to your best self. Reach out to me at lois@loiscoffee.com to claim your 20-minute slot. Until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.